Welcome to our weekly podcast featuring CrescentCitySports.com and GeauxPreps.com. Ken Trahan with Hunter Bauer. Always a pleasure. And Hunter, here we are, week 8, starting to get a better idea. You focus on power ratings every week, and so we're starting to get some sort of clarity as to what to expect, who's going to make it, who's not, and who's going to be top 2 or 3 seeds in each class.
Yeah, absolutely. Starting to take shape. I can't believe we're already in week 8, Ken. It's just crazy. It seems like this year has gone by fast. But yeah, a lot of teams are starting to figure out where they're going to fall, whether they're going to have a home game, whether they're going to try to fight for a home game, or even if they're going to get in the playoff field. So it's certainly going to be interesting to watch and see how it unfolds these next 3 weeks.
All right, let's get right into it with some top games around the state this weekend. First of all, Acadiana Southside. This is a really good rivalry in your neck of the woods, a young one. Of course, Southside, a very young school, but the Sharks have really risen quickly to become an outstanding program. Very close loss early in the year. Other than that, good. Acadiana, still really good, but really took it on the chin against John Curtis last week.
Yeah, no doubt. This is going to be interesting to see how Acadiana bounces back from that shutout loss. It was the first time in 3 years that the Rams have been shut out, and again came into that game with the leading offense in the state, and John Curtis was determined and gave Acadiana all they wanted. But Southside's on a 4-game win streak. Only loss coming to an undefeated Karen Crow. Sharks have surrendered 14 or more points 5 times this season. So a little bit of offensive troubles, I guess, for Southside. That's not a good thing with Acadiana coming into the game trying to stop them. Did talk to head coach Josh Fontenot for Southside. He expects his team to show up and be ready for a showdown. Key to the game is making fewer mistakes in Acadiana, which is key because Acadiana is a really sound football team. But he did say that they're excited to play at home. It's a home game for Southside, so it should be a good atmosphere, a good crowd for that district matchup.
Baton Rouge area, you've got 2 school districts colliding, Central and Zachary. Central chased Catholic to the wire last week.
Yeah.
Zachary has simply been good. Thoughts?
Yeah, key race in the District 4 or 5A battle. Like you said, Central was edged out by Catholic last week. Zachary really hasn't been tested over the last few weeks. Not really their fault on their part, part of the district play, but this can serve as a wake-up call for them if Zachary's not ready. Central is looking much improved this year. They have 3 shutout victories, so Coach Semino knows what he's doing. He's been a winner everywhere he's gone, so he's definitely going to have have Central ready to play against a good Zachary team Friday night.
Northwest Louisiana, Terrebonne Woods, Calvary Baptist, showdown game. Tommy Tharp's done a great job. He'll tell you how he thinks, and you love that about him, and yet yeah. Monty Ewan's done a terrific job, and Calvary Baptist is loaded. So, look, this is a really good matchup. I think we'll find out more about Terrebonne Woods than anything else in this game.
Yeah, this has definitely turned out to be a good rivalry matchup between 2 good teams. A battle of the unbeaten. Control of District 1, 2A is at stake. Calvary, I don't need to say much more about them. They possess one of the top quarterbacks in the state, Abram Wardell. They got weapons all over the field. Their defense is solid. But Terrebonne Woods, they're kind of the Cinderella of this season. They're one of the biggest turnarounds since Coach Tharp got there. He's got them off to their best start in school history, averaging 7 points per game given up in district play. In my notes, I said it has allowed more than 2 touchdowns only once this season. So I talked to Coach Ewan, said Calvary's key to the game is stopping Terrebonne on defense and to keep Timberwolves from controlling the game. Coach Tharp's really good at that, at control of the game. So really good key there for Coach Ewan, but expect a really good matchup.
Here in the New Orleans area over at Morris Jeff Stadium, it'll be Edna Carr hosting Holy Cross. Tigers suffered their first loss last week to Brother Martin in a good one. And Carr, of course, undefeated and playing superb defense. And, look, these are 2 of not only the top teams in the area, 2 of the top teams in that division, and certainly in their district in 9-5A.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge power points game as well as a Catholic League showdown. Holy Cross fell to a strong Brother Martin team last week, first loss of the season. Edna Carr's won 6 straight and only surrendered 44 points this season, so that needs to tell you all you know about Edna Carr. Talked to Coach Scott, expects the team to go back to playing their brand of football. They're really getting the kids to refocus on the task at hand. He thinks that, last week just was not a real focused week. It says that Holy Cross must create energy on the field and play their pace of offense, especially against Edna Carr. Huge key is to get off the field on third down when Edna Carr has the ball. So, this is and could be for control or share of the district lead. It's just a strong Catholic league this year, Ken, and it's going to be interesting to see how Holy Cross can match up against Edna Carr. But Coach Watney's really got them playing good right now, so let's see how they bounce back after that loss to Brother Martin.
Of course, the big matchup in central Louisiana, Gina and Bunkie. Well, something's got to give in this game, right?
Yeah, no doubt. You like to see somebody go undefeated, but unfortunately they can't. Again, this win could add some separation for Gina in the power points. They're leading. They're currently ranked number 1 in that non-select Division II. Gina's got a little bit tougher strength of schedule with some marquee wins against Leesville, Mangum, Tyoga. Bunkie's only played 2 teams with winning records. But regardless, both teams know how to score a lot of points. Bunkie ranks 9th in the state, 45 points per game. Coach Hillman from Bunkie was talking about how Gina's size advantage has the size advantage up front, and that his team will have to ramp up its speed to match that, which they can. So he talked about expecting a physical game between both teams. Penalties and special teams will play a major role in that game.
Back to your neck of the woods, Lafayette Christian will play at Westgate. Westgate, a couple of losses, but to good teams. And, of course, Lafayette Christian overwhelming in their victory over Turlings Catholic.
Yeah, no doubt. They definitely flexed their muscle against Turlings Catholic, 61-3, smashing over over a good Rebels team, by the way. I mean, Turlings Catholic's really good this year. But that just goes to show you how strong Lafayette Christian is, which is key going this far into the season, not that far from the playoffs. Westgate edged out Vermilion Catholic after suffering back-to-back losses. Could be a great atmosphere at Westgate, but you got to slow down Jawan Johnson in the LCA defense. That's the key. That's the only key that you need right there. But do expect a good district matchup between these two great district matchups. We'll talk about another one here in a little bit, but it just goes to show you how strong 4-4A is this year.
Santa Ma, undefeated at Dutchtown. Griffins have only lost 1, and they're at home. There's an opportunity here for the Griffins. This will be a very good game.
Yeah. Undefeated St. Amant, a really good St. Amant team. Griffins bounced back from a Week 6 loss with a 30-16 victory over Live Oak last week. Talked to Coach Mistretta. He spoke about not playing up to the standards over the last few weeks, especially they had those 2 bye weeks with Carver forfeiting their game, and they had an open date. So he's been preaching to the team they got to get back playing with that same energy that they started out with, which is key going up against the Gators. They got to match that energy level. St. Amant's dominated their last 3 opponents, allowing a total of 15 points. Babin, their quarterback, really great, returning from injuries, able to mix it up on offense. So it's going to be a key for Dutchtown to get in there and match that energy. St. Amant, they're on fire this year, and they want to keep it that way.
7-5A matchup, Terrebonne off of a loss to Dutchtown. At East St. John to play an undefeated Wildcats team. Of course, most people feel it will be East St. John and Dutchtown, but Terrebonne's talented enough to give East St. John a game here.
Yeah, and Kim, one of the things I put on my notes is will the Wildcats be looking ahead to that showdown with Dutchtown? If they are, Terrebonne could slide right in, maybe score an upset. Terrebonne took it just a second loss of the season against Dutchtown last week. So they've got to make up some ground in the power points. So this is a key game for them, too. They're 22nd in the power points, 28 get in, top 16 get a home game. So if they want a home game, this would be the game to win right here. It'd be a lot of power points for Terrebonne. So a lot to play for both sides. But East St. John, the key is you can't look forward. You got to play you got to have the task at hand. Play Terrebonne to your best this week.
Back to that great district in your neck of the woods, Turlings Catholic, smarting from that whipping last week, taking on their Catholic brethren, St. Thomas More. This is a rivalry for people that aren't aware of what goes on in Southwest Louisiana. This is a huge rivalry. There's a lot of love that's not lost when these two schools get together in virtually any sport.
Yeah, and I was just looking at the power ratings. Both teams are in the top 5 of that select district too. So again, if you're in the top 4, you get a first round bye. So this is a big game for Turlings if they can get past St. Thomas More. St. Thomas More, they've surrendered just 3 points in their last 3 games. They're just really good on defense. Sam Altman on quarterback on offense. For the Cougars, playing lights out. They're averaging 44 points a game. How can Turlings bounce back from that devastating defeat to Lafayette Christian last week? It's the first time they've been held under double digits in the regular season since 2018, and that was against St. Thomas More. So really a lot to fight for. 2 high-octane offenses going at it, but defense will be the key to this battle.
And then finally, Tyoga and Neville, a couple of teams that have lost one game, 2-4A battle. Game, of course, is at Monroe and Neville. So, look, this is certainly a game where the Tigers would be favored, but you can't rule Tyoga out.
Yeah, no doubt, and I think it's the battle for the 2-4A championship up there. Neville's only loss coming to an undefeated Ruston squad. The Tigers have allowed 6 points or less in 3 of their last 4 games. Tyoga lost to a really good Gina squad that we talked about earlier in Week 5, but they posted wins in their last 2 outings. Indians can't surrender a ton of points this week, and looking at the Division I Select power ratings, they're sitting at number 7, so they are trying to fight to get a first-round bye as well. Certainly hoping to keep a home game. Definitely get a lot of points either way from this game, win or lose. But yeah, Tyoga has just as much riding on this as Neville does, and a win could not only upend a really good Neville squad, but boost them up in the power ratings a little bit, which is key in that Select Division I.
We'll have previews of virtually every one of these games and reporters at all these games on Ken Trahan's Original Prep Football Report Friday night, 6 to midnight, 106.1 FM in the New Orleans area, 4 other stations, and at NashFM1061.com on a statewide and worldwide basis. And, of course, we talked to Hunter in our Countdown show with Les East and Jude Young. This week it's John Curtis Christian night. So J.T. Curtis will be on hand, and maybe he'll join in the conversation with you as well. And, of course, power ratings, don't miss them. Go to GeauxPreps.com to get that. You can't miss it. You'll be really happy doing so. And at CrescentCitySports.com Friday night, you can watch Holy Cross at Carr from Morris Jeff Stadium live, and always free and via replay at CrescentCitySports.com. So the partnership continues. We appreciate it very much, Hunter. And as always, look forward to talking to you Friday night, and have a blessed weekend.
Absolutely, Ken. Thank you so much, and looking forward to Friday night. Here we go, guys. Week 8. Let's go.
Amen.